What are the biggest stumbling blocks that I've experienced building two businesses from the ground up? I'm going to share those today on today's podcast episode of Confident AF Live. Y'all, today is going to be a humbling episode for me. For those of you who don't know, one of my words for this year was grace. Grace and forgiveness. And the actual definition of the word grace means free and unmerited favor. Basically, receiving what you don't deserve and what you haven't earned. Now, we all know about the laws of the universe, the laws of cause and effect, the law of creation, or some of you might refer to it as karma. The Bible talks about it as reaping and sowing. And my anticipation of using that word for this year was that I would be the one giving free and unmerited favor, and that God would be giving me free and unmerited favor in terms of more financial abundance, more opportunity, more things. And let me just be really clear and really honest with y'all today. That is not what happened this last year. And I am in a very reflective state because my heart and my mind is preparing for 2025 and how I want to show up in the world, how I want to be in the light in the world, what this business means to me. And one of the most humbling pieces of this year is realizing that so much that has stopped my businesses from growing this year have been my own emotional insecurity stumbling blocks. Now, the crazy thing about this is that we go back to my word of the year, which is grace. And what's crazy is that as I've been shown these emotional insecurities and these stumbling blocks that have reared their ugly head in both my travel business and inside of my coaching business, is the people that God has surrounded me with grace to forgive me, to give me free and unmerited favor, to not hold things against me so that I can actually work through all of these emotional insecurities so I can actually become who I want to be as a leader and to change the lives that I want to change in both of my businesses. And so I want to share today those four major stumbling blocks, these emotional insecurity stumbling blocks. And ironically, all of these emotional stumbling blocks are attached to practical pieces inside of building a business. And when you can actually understand and point these emotional stumbling blocks and see them for what they really are, you're going to be able to implement practical pieces in your business much faster than you ever have before. You're going to be able to step outside of your comfort zone in new ways that you never have before. You're also going to create an up-leveled ability to trust people, to allow people to support you, to allow people to give you grace and give you forgiveness to help you go further faster inside of your business. And again, it's a very humbling experience. And I think the key word for me is humility and humble. I think the literal definition is something about having a lowly view of yourself. And I don't really feel that that definition is helpful because God created you. God doesn't create anything that is a POS, as we say. And I don't mean point of sale system. God does not create something that is not of high worth or of high value. You are created in the image of God. So when I say humility and humble, I really truly believe it's more about understanding and stripping away the ego that you're not better than anybody else. No matter how much money you have, no matter how much success you've had, no matter if you've written a book, no matter if you've been the mindset expert of a big 8-figure coaching company, Norm by Inc., like all of those pieces do not make you better than anybody else. They don't make you less susceptible to insecurity. They don't make you less susceptible to jealousy. They don't make you less susceptible to ego. They don't make you less susceptible to judgment, which are all those emotions that I'm going to talk about today. And those emotions are stumbling blocks because they all separate us from love. And remember that your business exists in order for you to bless the world around you, to give love to others, to be a light through service, money is exchange of the value you provide. The more value you provide, the higher the price you can charge. And this year has really been a humiliating and humbling year to allow me to detach from my ego and remind myself that I am not better than anybody else. And that these emotional stumbling blocks, working through these, is what truly creates self-confidence and new ways you've never experienced before. It empowers you to do things inside of your business you've never done before so that you can give freely to people. By the way, grace will never be the word of the year ever again, ever again inside of my business. The word for next year is give, because you can't give if you don't have it first. So next year, the word is give, and I've already started practicing giving. And I realize this is reverse engineering, and I've been very honest about God with that. And I truly believe that God has a great sense of humor. So I believe he appreciates that. And I just want to encourage all of you all today that if you are struggling with any of these emotional insecurities, you are not alone. I work with people who have been in industries for 14, 20, 30 years, who have multi-million dollars in sales, who have 8-figure incomes. And trust me when I say they have the same insecurities that you do. They have the same insecurities that I do. Sometimes they're just a little bit better at hiding those insecurities. And here's the other truth. If you can work through these insecurities where you are right now inside of your business, that's a lot better than having $100 million company and then having to hire me to help you with those emotional insecurities, because chances are you have probably left a little bit of a wake of disaster behind you, because that's what these emotional insecurities do. These emotional insecurities will destroy growth. They will destroy relationships. They will destroy partnerships. They will destroy opportunities, because again, they're all a lack of love. And so the 4 pieces of emotional stumbling blocks that I want to share with you all today, I truly believe that these are the biggest stumbling blocks of building a business, is jealousy, insecurity, ego, and judgment. And I want to walk through briefly all 4 of these in today's podcast episode and why they matter to your business. But I also want you to keep in mind that over the next several podcast episodes, over the next several weeks, I'm going to do a deep dive into each one of these emotionally insecure pieces, because I'm in the process of writing a book right now, my second book on forgiveness. Please do not ask when it's coming out, because we're not going to overcommit. We're not overcommit. I am very much in the middle, knee deep of this process. And I am praying, sweet baby Jesus, that the forgiveness piece of others forgiving me is over. I spent a day, was it this week? It was this week. I spent a day where I literally called people and apologizing. I believe it's part of the normal 12-step program for like Alcoholics Anonymous, and some churches use this for their own incubators and overcoming insecurities and being new Christians and walking in your faith. A lot of religions, I think, actually do this process of reconciliation and wronging rights and admitting your faults. And there's a Bible verse, I don't remember where it is, I'm not a biblical scholar, but it says that those who confess will find mercy. And I was pretty aghast at how people reacted when I would call them and apologize for things that I felt like I had done wrong. A lot of them did not feel the same way. A lot of them, if they did at the time, said it was no big deal and that they really love me and adore me. And there was a few people who did not respond. That's okay. Who knows why they didn't respond? But the point is I felt so much peace. And I can also say, as a confidence coach, I have never felt more insecure in my whole entire life, or had to pray for more courage than I ever had before, because it is deeply humbling to call people and be like, yeah, I feel like I screwed up. I wasn't the best person in this situation. And can I also be honest with you all and say, like, my husband was like, why are you apologizing to these people? These don't feel like these are really big deals. And I want to also say that, remember that When you harbor guilt and shame for yourself, you erode worthiness and what you feel like you deserve inside of your life and your business. And God doesn't segment. The laws of the universe do not segment. So if you feel guilty about it, if you feel like you need to apologize for it, then you should apologize for it. Remember, it's all about who you want to be, not what others perceive you to be or what others think you should or should not do. You need to be the best version and person of you. So the first one is jealousy. Jealousy is the feeling that someone else has something that you can't have. And whenever I have been jealous of other people, it starts to erode that relationship because I can feel myself getting bitter, angry, and resentful that maybe they have the car that I want, or they have the vacation that I want, or they have the team that I want, or they have the income that I want. I mean, it goes on and on and on. The beautiful thing about jealousy is it tells you what you really, really want. And the reason why you feel so terrible is because you don't feel like you can actually have it. You feel like someone's blocking you or keeping you from it, and it's not fair. And that leads me to the second piece of emotional insecurities, which is judgment. Because whenever you're jealous of somebody, pretty much the next thing that's going to happen is you're going to judge them to make yourself feel better because you already feel bad that you don't think you can have what they actually have. So then you start looking for reasons of why they don't deserve it or why they're not a good person. And you see this all the time in politics. You see this all the time with people, there's a lot of really great faith-based preachers or spiritual teachers out there who get a lot of hate just because of their wealth. And yet I discovered, y'all, there's a Bible verse that actually says, is it so much to ask to reap a material reward for you if you're reaping a spiritual reward from me? There's actually a verse in the Bible that talks about that. And that really blew my mind. And not to digress from the point, but you have to understand that we often see somebody having something that we want. So to make ourselves feel better, we judge them as to why they're not deserving, why they're not worthy of it, why they shouldn't have it. And then we're just tearing people down. That's energetically, that's what you're doing. And if you're tearing people down, you're again reaping and sowing something that you do not want to reap and sow, because while you're tearing somebody else down, that means somebody else is going to be tearing you down. And it's just not what we're created to do. And imagine too how much you can learn if you just ask the person, how did you get here? How were you able to do it? Teach me what you know. I mean, that takes humility, right? To take ownership, because everybody has a deck of cards they're dealt. It's true that some people have a better deck of cards when they were born than other people. However, the deck of cards doesn't determine if you win your hand. It determines how you play your hands. And I truly believe in my heart of hearts that God can always turn in what is a losing deck of cards and turn it into a truly winning hand for your business and for your life. The third one is insecurity. Insecurity is you don't feel safe. And insecurity, honestly, is probably my biggest one. And it has so much to do with high school. It has so much to do with being gay. It has so much to just basically being told that for a very long time, for a lot of different reasons, whether it's my voice, whether it was being gay, whether it was whatever it was, that I was not worthy, that I was not good enough, that I could just repeat those over and over again, not worthy and not good enough. And that is incredibly destructive and incredibly harmful. And when you carry that into your business and you feel like you're not good enough as a leader, or you're not smart enough, or you're not talented enough, or you don't have enough to offer, that will ruin how people show up for you. The people that you hire will ruin your ability to attract higher level clients. Like, there's just so much that from the outside world, they see these practical pieces and they think it has to do with pricing. They think it has to do with the offer. And I would say that would probably be like 15 or 20%. And I would say 80%, 85% of that is really your own internal emotional feelings, which your outside world and circumstances inside of your business are just simply reflecting back to you. And the fourth piece is ego. Oh man, did my ego get the best of me this year? It got the best of me in terms of finances. It got the best of me in terms of pride when my book came out. And all I wanted to say is like, it's okay to be proud of your finances. It's okay to be proud of your book, but that doesn't give you a license to think that you're better than other people because you have a book, because you have more money, because you have a better car. And that is a danger zone. And actually, what I realize is that was simply a reflection of expecting the book or money to hide my own internal insecurity that I already had. And again, it goes back to, am I worthy enough? Am I good enough? Am I worthy enough? Am I good enough? We just keep going around robin to these principles, but they're really, really true. So what I want all of you all to do today is I want you to just ask yourself 3 very simple, easy questions. Where am I jealous and being judgmental inside of my business, of others, of what they have, whether it's a team member, whether it's a client, whether it's a vendor, and why? Why am I? Really get to the root of why you are jealous and why you are judging the person. Second question is, what is your biggest insecurity? Is it your looks? Is it your voice? Is it your finances? Is it your marketing? What is your biggest piece of insecurity where you don't feel good enough? Because I have really good news for you. That is where God's grace and love really gets to fill in the gaps and show you how powerful and how amazing you are, because he loves to transmute our weaknesses into strengths. So that's the second question. The third question is, where do you feel like you're better than other people? And I want you to nip that in the butt really, really quick, because when you feel like you're better than other people, when that has that Bible verse of pride comes before the fall, it's not talking about not being proud of your accomplishments. It's not talking about you not being grateful and excited and sharing the good work that God's done in you or done in your business or sharing your wins on social media. That's not pride. Pride is thinking that you're more lovable, you're more worthy, or that you're better than other people. And that is a really big warning light that you want to nip in the butt inside of your business. If you are watching this on YouTube, I want you to check out this next video that's going to be posted about jealousy. You're going to learn so much about jealousy that you never knew that was wreaking havoc inside of your business energetically, which might be why you're not getting the sales, the clients, and the other things that you actually want to experience. Because oftentimes those spiritual principles, energetic principles, are what is keeping what you're already doing from working even better inside of your business. That's what we're going to be talking about on next week's podcast episode. I love you. Thank you so much for listening today. And make sure you share this with a friend who could use some encouragement, some love, and an extra dose of confidence inside of their business.